fuck is up, gamers? Welcome to Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die, the #1 leftism podcast made by, for, and of the Terminally Online. I'm Sara, and my son's name is also Nestor.
First of all, I want to reiterate the fact that it is very much not a threat.
Thank you. Yes, not a threat.
Because you did not leave me space to say it.
It's been a hot minute since we got on the mic together, so I forgot the history and the pistory of this podcast.
I'm right by our window, so there was like a sniper dot trained on my chest until I mentioned that it was not a threat. They're gonna delete my blog like Sam Canning.
I hope that sniper's getting hazard pay.
Out in the Rona.
Yeah.
God, it has been a hell of a month.
Wait, who are you?
Oh, I'm Matt, also known as Fuck Wendig. But, it's been a hell of a month. A lot of things that we are not going to get into as huge detail on the show, which is technically what this segment up top is for, is just kind of talking about the news in general. So we've basically covered nothing in regards to the protests surrounding the death of George Floyd, mostly because we have not had an episode.
Yep.
But the firm stance of the podcast is fuck all cops, defund all cops.
Fuck all cops, defund all cops. Support the Black Lives Matter movement. Donate if you can. Share links, sign petitions if you cannot.
Make sure that the org that you're donating to still needs the money, so as not to end up in the situation of the Minnesota Freedom Fund, who suddenly had 350 times their usual annual income. And then got accused of being scam artists because of it.
Yeah. Thankfully, that didn't pan out the way that Ian Miles Chong and Andy No wanted it to.
Yeah.
But, it's a very much a moving target. Like, the places that, like, the podcast, we donated a chunk of change to a couple of funds, and those places are, like, not in need of funds right now because they got so much money. Yeah,
well, it's like one of the places we donated money as a pod was to the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Yeah. I think it was like right after they were starting, right around when they were starting to redirect donations.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically wherever there is currently something happening is probably your best bet.
Definitely.
A bunch of Confederate statues got torn down and often thrown into rivers.
Did you see that one of the... Oh, God. It's in the UK somewhere.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
They knocked him into the river, and then there was that, like, those Snapchat photos the next day of, like, some like, ripped-ass man trying to dredge a fucking statue out of a body of water.
This wasn't, like a cheapo Confederate monument, which are all, like, super light, made out of really shitty metal, and you could tear them down with, like, 3 people with a bit of musculature. Like, this was, like, a full metal statue. Full metal statue.
Full metal statue.
And just a note that any statue that is made of bronze can suffer extreme damage from something called bronze disease if it is exposed to chlorides and also several acidic compounds present in tomatoes. If you want to keep your statues well preserved, do not put those items anywhere near the Confederate monuments.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wouldn't want history to undergo severe bronze disease.
Oh, God. That argument that, like, people... that, like, this is, like, destroying our history is so fucking funny to me. Like, especially in the States, like... I don't know, maybe this is different in, like, not, like, states, maybe this is different in other states, but, like, in New York, I remember spending a lot of time learning about the Confederacy. Like, that history is not going away just because someone pulled down fucking... I don't even remember, you know what, maybe, I forgot Robert E. Lee's name for a minute there, and maybe history is getting deleted. It's like the fucking Back to the Future shit.
Fucked up. I can't believe that they're editing over all old Dukes of Hazzard's footage to replace the Confederate flag with the Pride flag.
And I can't believe they're going to have to recut Accidental Racist to...
We can't mention Accidental Racist lest we accidentally end 2 different episodes of the podcast with the same song, like we did with OG Mako 12 Bricks.
I mean, that's definitely going to have a third time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Sorry to hard left here, but there was something that I wanted to talk about that has been, in regards to the protests.
Yeah.
And
wait, hold on, let me just...
Okay, thank you. In regards to the protest, specifically in regards to the continued extrajudicial killing of mostly black people by the cops.
Right.
The most recent ones, and I can't say for sure. I can't say that these are definitely by the cops. Maybe they're just by some white supremacists. But this recent string of lynchings that have been occurring, one such being Malcolm Harsh in Victorville, California, and another being Robert Fuller in Palmdale, California. Both happened earlier this week at time of recording. Well, actually,
no, those ones were last week, weren't they?
They were like late last week.
Yeah,
earlier. Yeah. You're right. Late last week. They've all been reported as, and there was also one the other day in, hold on, I have the link here to make sure I don't get the details wrong. They didn't release this person's name, the family's request made that, but Huntington, there was in Huntington, Long Island, there was another black man found hanging from a tree, and it has been declared a suicide, which,
like, the most possible, like, I think this is possibly... It's not even the most suspicious thing cops have done this week.
No.
That would go to Milwaukee, which is a story that is, one, horrifying, and two, developing enough that it is not going to be mentioned in detail on this podcast. But it involves trafficking, and I highly suggest that if you want to be informed about it, that you look it up with a very, very heavy... disclaimer of the content you're about to see.
Very heavy content warning for child sexual abuse in that whole story.
Furthermore, fuck cops, but continue.
Yeah, absolutely fuck cops. All of these have been reported as suicides, which, I mean, aside from the circumstantial evidence proving it otherwise, such as the fact that there have been, like, no suicide notes left and, like, no ladders or anything from which someone could do it. Like, on top of all that, black men are just not hanging themselves from trees. Like,
no. Like, it's like...
that's really just not a thing.
It's just not going to happen. That is way too loaded.
Absolutely not. Like, it's just not fucking happening.
It's not fucking happening.
And it's just fucking sickening. On a similar note, Bubba Wallace, a NASCAR driver, they found a noose tied in his garage on his pull, like the rope.
The pull cord for the garage, yeah.
Yeah, the pull cord for the garage. People were there were some responses that were like saying, "Oh, it's all blown out of proportion," but some photos came out today, and it just looks like fucking like
it is a fucking noose.
It is a fucking noose. Like
there was an argument basically to the extent that it had been there for a while now, but of course, no one had been around, and even NASCAR today we're pretty clear. It was like, this is the only garage that this happened in. We checked everyone's pull cords. It is only the one garage. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah, NASCAR did also say that they have not, like, this is like the last time that they really saw this was in October, but yeah, it's pretty clear what this is. Like, I did, when I was doing a little bit of digging to get more details on this, on all of these, I saw some really disgusting stuff from, everyone's favorite Dinesh D'Souza.
Oh, great.
Like, just calling him Bubba Smollett.
Oh, good.
So, yeah,
I'm glad to be part of the same hyper-specific Indian diaspora as him. In that I have many relatives with the last name D'Souza. Yeah.
God. But
yeah, no, NASCAR's been pretty good on it, and also NASCAR were the ones who, like, just a couple of weeks before that this was found, had banned the Confederate flag from all cars.
I don't know if that was weeks or days or anything. But
yeah, it was fairly close.
Everyone's pretty much said this at this point, but the speed at which the Overton window has been yanked to the left is truly, like, incredible. Like, I am just, it's genuinely just, like, staggering. Like, even, it's so far to the left that now even, like, Republicans are having to come out and say, we condemn all police brutality. Right. And, except, yeah, but,
I mean, yeah, even that's a very good step above, they deserved it, which was the previous Republican line.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, even, to hear it coming out of Trump is, like, fucking... I feel like I'm living in bizarro land.
Well, yeah, like, his earliest claim to fame politically is the Central Park Five.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, the earliest thing that was him explicitly putting his name on something politically.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the earliest, other than like all the times him and his dad were sued for racist discrimination in their housing.
Yeah.
You know, that whole thing.
I'd recommend. I've definitely recommended this episode on multiple occasions, but the 300th episode of the Dollop
on Donald Trump,
on Trump, those are good. Those are good episodes to listen to.
Very, very good episodes.
I'm sorry to bring up petty internet bullshit, but I'm still blocked by their Twitter for saying, "Hey, you guys covered a trans issue badly."
And then they blocked. They blocked like everyone for that.
They blocked so many people. God, what a fucking shit fit.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they finally got better about like putting citations within the episodes themselves and not like 2 items removed from the post on their website.
Yeah, I'm not like too sour about it. Like I do still dip into the Dollop every once in a while for like certain episodes, like their McCain episode, for example. I
absolutely.
Resist.
The day he died.
Oh, that was so good. God, remember when McCain fucking died?
Oh, sick. Remember when he claimed to be pro-life, but then he died anyway? Remember how he crashed 3 separate planes and yet that wasn't what killed him?
God, the Joseph Joestar of humans.
I don't get the reference. I know it's JoJo, but that's about all.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't worry about it. Let's move on. Do you want to... Okay, wait. So we can cut this, but do you have anything serious that you want to go for? Because
I figured we'd give like a quick update on Miss Rona.
So you go ahead. You've got this.
I didn't even really have anything specific, but it sure is telling that all the people who said that socialized medicine in Italy didn't save them from the pandemic, and yet the numbers in Italy are now significantly lowered from when the pandemic started there, and yet the one major country without any form of socialized medicine whatsoever looks like the fucking stonks emoji.
No whammy. Come on, not the United States. It's not the United States. Come on.
It's the United States.
Oh, fuck.
They look like the stonks chart. It's like, going right up.
This is just off memory, but I'm pretty sure like we ballooned back. Like we dropped to like 50 new cases per million people a couple of weeks ago, and now we're back up to like 80.
Well,
like,
yeah,
even the European Union is like trailing down to a decent point.
Well, yeah, someone made a comparison chart that was a per capita comparison chart, and on that chart the U.S. looked pretty bad. Then someone did a just pure by the numbers chart, and this noting that the European Union's population is about 1.5 times that of the United States. So about 450 million versus 300 million, and the chart still looked really fucking bad, despite that huge advantage of total numbers. Even without considering per capita, it was real bad.
This is like, have you ever played a fighting game and you're better at it than your friends? So you play with a handicap that you start with like less health, and then you just still fucking beat their ass into the ground anyways because you're like in that middle ground of not quite good enough to play tournaments but too good for your friend group.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
I think of it like that one chart where it's like, there's like all the people standing on the podium, but it's a little zoomed in, and there's the guy like giving like double middle fingers towards the crowd and like popping like 2 bottles of champagne at the same time, and then it zooms out and reveals that he's in 15th place.
Yep.
I'm kind of thinking of that one.
God, did you see fucking that Mike Pence thing that he put up on a Medium article that was literally just the Onion, the further tensions in the Middle East will destabilize the entire region
versus no, it won't.
Yeah, just literally
possibly one of the best articles they've ever put out.
Yeah, definitely. Just absolute denial of, no, there's not going to be a second wave, which like... I'm not gonna give it to him, but like on a technicality, yeah, we're still kind of in the first wave.
Still kind of in the first one. It never went down like, significantly enough.
That's not 100% true. Like across the nation, there are definitely a couple of states that have had enough of a recession to constitute this being a second wave per epidemiologists.
Right.
But like as a country,
no,
not really. No.
I mean, like
it's just.
It was like 30 minutes before we started recording that the governor of Texas said that there's been a huge spike of cases due to reopening. And it's just a whole bunch of people replying to the tweet with like various like pretend to be shocked emojis. Because like really, that's all we could fucking do at this point. Tweet. They don't listen.
They don't. They've never listened.
Which, yeah, that does remind me. If you're trying to go to a restaurant to sit down in a restaurant, fuck you. Like, fuck you, just unilaterally, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you. Eat shit. Fuck you. And let's go back to... Remember there's this one episode a couple of episodes ago where I was like, if you are denying the realities of this virus, I want you to eat someone's discarded tissues out of the garbage and catch coronavirus, but it was cut because it was too mean. That again, but for real.
I don't remember that one being cut.
I don't remember who was editing that week, but it was cut.
Yeah, it's... Oh God, I'm living in a much more red part of the city than I was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's no one gives a shit. Like I drove past a local bar, which sidebar, I guess. They until very very recently, I thought that a local bar, TC Hooligans, was like a chain of restaurants that existed.
I think there's something about that name that does imply that it's a chain.
Right? Like TC Hooligans does not sound like a fucking local joint.
No, not at all. I think you're valid for this one.
It was like the other day when I was replying to someone on my locked Twitter, and they were like, man, this whole fucking COVID thing is so scary, just everything's opening back up. And I replied to them, yeah, I drove past a TC Hooligans the other day, and people were just like, it was just stocked to the brim with people. And they said, sorry, you drove past a what? I've lived in this town for 20 goddamn years, and I only just found out that TC Hooligans is a single location place.
Like, you think that you'd at least, like, if you thought it was a chain, that you could at least name a second one in Rochester?
The thing is that I think helped contribute to that is that recently they moved from the mall to like somewhere down the street.
Oh, jeez.
So
yeah, that's gonna bring up two different addresses on Google, and without Google, though, we don't know anything.
Yeah. Oh God, but yeah, the just driving past that place, it was like, earlier this week also, I was having to, I had to help my dad with something, and it was something that was like an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Right. On
our way back, we tried to stop at some place on the road for food that was like Dan's Chicken Shack or what the fuck ever, and it was just stocked, like completely full of Trumpers, like coated in Trump gear. And just not a single person was wearing a mask except for myself. And it's just terrifying.
I've had to go into like one place without having a mask available, and it was literally because I needed to buy masks, and none of the pharmacies seemed to have any for some reason. And it's like a store, Canadians will be familiar. It's called Giant Tiger. And it's
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's Giant Tiger, but unfortunately they are not good.
Fuck.
But yeah, basically their whole claim to fame is being like, it's like a very discounty kind of store. It has like clothes and groceries, and it's basically like it rolls three different kinds of store into one. And the whole place is basically
kind of a Walmart one then.
It's kind of a Walmart one, but less spacious.
Gotcha.
Because I feel a lot more comfortable in a Walmart right now than I would in this Giant Tiger. Because the whole thing is basically built like the entrances and exits are two completely separate doors that don't like overlap each other at all. And that's you basically have to walk through the whole store to get to the exit. It's like a big maze.
That's not,
which is particularly bad when people are completely ignoring any floor signage and just walking any which way. If everyone was going straight, it would be fine. But I almost had a panic attack trying to get masks and coming out of there. And as a result, we bought groceries afterwards. We went to a different store for groceries, thank God. And then I just have not left the house since. It sucked. There was a few people with masks, but like largely people did not give a shit. The only place I've seen that's like, grocery stores in general and like the liquor stores and like anything that's under like, I guess like guidelines. Like provincially owned stuff is going to be under guidelines. Grocery stores all have like certain guidelines. The best place I've seen has been the Bulk Barn, which is like just like a bulk food store, which is the kind of thing you're not going to imagine is going to be really easy to keep open during a pandemic. Mm-hmm. And the only way that they are allowed to stay open is that they are allowed 3 people in the store, and that counts the 2 employees. One employee stays at the cash and makes sure no one comes in the door. The other one walks around the store with you and scoops for you. It was I have never felt... It is a lot, but it was the only way they were allowed to stay open, and I felt so fucking safe picking up candy. I was like, this is amazing. I had to wait half an hour in line, but it was worth it.
This is the cleanest pound of gummy sharks I've ever bought in my life.
Oh my god, I got so many gummy worms and like some Jolly Rancher gummies. I was actually just there to pick up magnesium and melatonin. Like I needed like the bulk pills.
Yeah.
Because it's the cheapest way to buy vitamins. Pro tip: if you're ever in Canada, buy your melatonin here. It's so much cheaper.
Buy your melatonin.
Buy your Melisander here.
Buy your Melisander Simone Cook. I don't fucking know.
We started calling it that, and then I just like used it in conversation, and my friend's like, I hate that I know what you're talking about. Because it's just like, our brainworms have persisted so severely that people just understand when I say dumb shit like that.
Peacock Brain is forever.
Truly. But yeah.
Peacock Brain is the Pontypool of existence.
Listen to the fear-baiting episode on Pontypool. Sorry for how many times I say the phrase that is banned from this podcast.
Yeah, it's your Pontypool.
It is.
It's your own personal.
I mean, I guess you're allowed to say it. I'm just not allowed to say it.
No, censor that shit.
Someone beep it. I don't even know who's editing. It's fine.
Just cut that entire segment because I skipped, like, my brain skipped like 4 synapses on the way to that joke because I was gonna say it's your own personal cellar door, and then I do the fucking personal Jesus joke, but I kind of skipped that connective tissue, so it doesn't really make much sense to anyone but me.
It's fine. Just put it on the Patreon or something. They deserve something.
Sure. Absolutely. Hey, Matt, do you have any sons?
I do have 2 sons, named Looker and Nanu, who you can find many pictures of in our animal channel. But I do know what you're getting with.
How about human sons?
I don't have any human sons, no.
Alright, neither does Matt Gaetz, but he'd sure like you to think otherwise.
Okay, so, like, he's had this guy around for, like, a while, right?
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. There was an argument in the House Judiciary markup. This story's like a week and a half old, but I wanted to talk about it because it's so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Where
I mean, we haven't recorded in like 3 weeks. It's fine.
Yeah, longer than that. Louisiana Democrat Cedric L. Richmond was talking about disparities between just basically kind of talking about the disparities in policing that leads to black parents having to give their kids the talk, and that not applying to white kids. And he's just talking about like how I'm quoting from a roll call article here. He's talking about his individual experiences with excessive policing and concerns over racial disparities and the impact it would have for his black son. And Matt Gaetz interjects, "Are you suggesting none of us have non-white children?" Richmond is literally talking about his black son, and Gaetz just like jumps on the most specific nit he could possibly pick, which is having a non-white child.
God. I mean, like, hey, just as a quick aside here, police violence does impact all forms of racialized people.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Like when people are centering black voices in a conversation about police violence, there's a fucking reason they're doing it. And it's because they are, even among people of color, disproportionately affected. And that goes for Indigenous people as well, who face a huge portion of police violence in Canada. Yeah.
Richmond responded to him, "It's not about the color of your kid, it's about black males, black people in the streets that are getting killed. And if one of them happens to be your kid, I'm concerned about him too, and clearly I'm more concerned about him than you are. Gaetz fired back, "You're claiming to have more concern for my family than I do. Who the hell do you think you are?"
And then people dig the fuck in.
And then the next day he tweeted, "I love I love my big beautiful karate son, Nestor Gaetz." Nestor Galban specifically,
right? So he was a Cuban expat, was it? And that he was working in Gaetz's office, right? Like as some kind of like. I mean, I think the people digging into it raised a lot more questions, such as the fact that he apparently has been working for him like long enough that he would have been like under 18.
Yeah.
When he was working as an intern, probably unpaid.
Yeah. Matt Gaetz did not refer to him as his son for a while. Instead, choosing to refer to him as part of his family story and a remarkable young man. But Matt Gaetz has a fucking podcast called Hot Takes.
Ugh, disgusting.
And the description of last Friday's podcast episode is this: Do more AG Bar, Gator Bait, and Chief canceled. Nestor's primetime debut.
I hate it.
It sounds like the fucking preview shit for a Naruto episode. Like,
it really does.
Do more AG Bar, Gator Bait, and Chief canceled. Next time on Naruto, Nestor's primetime debut.
Good lord. Do you ever just kind of forget that podcasts in that sphere exist? Like people.
Yeah. Today I learned that Lowe's has a podcast and it dealt me irreparable psychic damage.
Oh my god.
Like the company of Lowe's.
Ugh. We need to abandon this medium and go back to YouTube. Just kidding.
Yeah. Just kidding. YouTube is a hell ground.
Hell zone.
So until I read this article, I had thought that like Nestor was like I don't know, like a stepchild or something that which would have made more sense, but instead he apparently Nestor Galbun, which is his last name, not Gates.
Right.
Nestor Galbun is so he's related to an ex-girlfriend of Matt's. Do you want to guess how this person is related to this ex-girlfriend of Matt's?
Like a cousin?
It's it's the girlfriend's brother.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Quote, I sort of feel like a single step parent at times.
His ex-girlfriend's brother?
His ex-girlfriend's brother.
Oh my god, I thought it was at least someone's kid.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is someone's kid.
Well, yeah.
Quote, he's 19 years old now. Our family was never defined by paperwork or blood. It was truly defined by the love we have for each other. So...
Fuck's sakes.
Thank you, Matthew. God, I hope is he up for getting primaried this year?
I hope so. We can talk about some fucking primaries today.
Yeah, some good primaries happened last night. Well, not last night. 2 nights ago at time of recording, and also it's kind of a rolling thing because absentee ballots are happening a lot. Oh, God, I was just listening to, right before this episode, I was listening to last week's episode of Worst Year Ever, and at the end, Robert Evans just mentioned offhand that, like, we're not going to know who won the election for a long time after Election Day, and I just really can't, like, that thought is, like, still, like, processing in my mind.
Oh, like, he thinks that that Trump won't give up the White House. The place of a loss.
That too, but also just like we won't know like the numbers.
Right. He says it could be like 2 weeks. And I'm trying to imagine that would just be a lost 2 weeks.
Right,
like,
but
what the fuck are they gonna do for 2 weeks?
It's not the first time it's happened because that's what happened back in fucking 2000 when Bush and Gore was contested and the Supreme Court just decided, okay, Bush is president.
Yeah, gotta love it, huh?
Gotta absolutely love it.
Gotta love that democratic institution of the Supreme Court.
We do absolutely. But there were some good primaries last night. AOC handily won her primary, which was fun to see. Just like see screenshots of all of the conservative YouTubers like Pim Tool and all those motherfuckers.
Yeah, the screenshots being like, get woke, get broke, which is like their favorite saying right now.
Get woke, go broke is like the most provably false thing. Like
it's so fucking funny because they also just like... They make the statement that anyone doing it is just doing it for money.
Right, because that's the only reason anyone would ever care about other people, because that's what they are doing.
And yeah, they
like I have no love. I don't have much love for The Last of Us, nor do I have much love for The Last of Us 2. But seeing the fucking chuds over on the subreddit for that game getting their having screamed "Get woke, go broke" at that game for the last like 2 months since the leaks.
Jesus.
And then seeing them get their head kicked in by just the I am frustrated with the extreme reward that Naughty Dog is reaping for the crunch and the bad things they did for that game.
Right.
But I'm also having some Schadenfreude at the gamers TM being mad, and every time Get Woke Go Broke is proven wrong, I am happy.
It is funny every time, and it's like
it
is kind of funny just seeing them get like extremely mad at The Last of Us 2, and then seeing people I know getting extremely mad at it for entirely different reasons.
Yeah, it's completely it's completely muddied the waters on everything. It's very it's honestly very frustrating. To the extent that like Neil Druckmann is now like tweeting some stuff that like there was some like
first of all, Neil Fuckman.
There was some, I think, misreporting about there was some reporting about people watching violent videos in order to do work on this game, and there was somehow it got spread from there that was required, which I think is just people mixing it up with the stuff that was required of NetherRealm workers when they were working on
because that's where we heard that story before.
Right, yeah. And Neil Druckmann was just like, oh, this probably came from the same people who are like Abby is a big mean transgender, or I'm doing mocap for this game for this sex scene, or yada yada yada, and just it's very frustrating to me that I feel like legitimate criticism is just also getting lumped in with, and I mean that's just how it is, right wing shitheads completely co-opt legitimate criticism by making everything about just fucking being as loud as possible about as many bigoted things as possible. We've gotten way far off topic from the fucking primaries, though.
Yeah. Someone managed to put a bring back the National Dex tweet on Pokemon's Black Lives Matter post. So that's about as far as these losers are willing to go.
Yeah.
But Jamal Bowman kicked ass at the primary. This one's not closed yet, but it's like a wide enough margin that it is probably a win.
Was he the one who was up against the one that like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and everyone had gotten in the corner of?
What the fuck is his name?
It's barely worth remembering, apparently.
Elliot Engel. Yeah, it's Elliot Engel. Elliot Engel was endorsed by Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, the Congressional Black Caucus, which like goes and shows you how like on the pulse that organization is now. That they were, backing this shithead who's been in Congress for 32 years against, a progressive black man running for the same position.
Oh, God.
It's exhausting. And Amy McGrath, who is going up against, who wanted to go up against Bitch McTurtle in Kentucky, seems to be losing the primary against her progressive challenger.
Yeah.
Charles Booker, that's what the name is. Yeah, sorry, I'm having major brain farts today.
That's fine.
I read all this earlier, but it all just went...
Was Charles Booker the one who, never mind. There was a, a faint outline of a thought in my head there. Never mind. But, yeah, let's fucking go with these primaries.
Yeah.
Get these shitheads out of here. Make what, long live the new flesh. Death to... What is it? Is it Death to Videodrome? Not Long Live the New Flesh, or vice versa? It's been too long since I've seen that movie.
I've never seen it, so I probably should.
Long live the new flesh, and by new flesh I mean progressives.
Yeah, it was like you don't under any circumstances have to hand it to electoralism, but it's nice to get a win sometimes.
It is very much so.
It's nice to feel like things aren't completely terrible, even when demonstrably they are.
Yeah.
But that said, everyone still continue pushing direct action and tear down as many statues as you can. Fuck all cops, etc.
I would love fuck all cops, but unfortunately, the cops have been struck by a fucking McChicken projectile on the corner of 5th and 17th Street, and as such, they have fired 15 canisters of tear gas into the local.
Oh, sorry, someone hid an entire rocket launcher inside the McChicken. They were throwing deadly weapons. So sorry, I opened up this Big Mac, and instead of beef patties, there was 2 ninja stars. And I took a big bite into it, and now I look like the Joker. It's like, you want to know how I got these scars? Ordering takeout on the fucking clock. Isn't it funny how every time that one of these cops, like, there was 2 stories, 2, like, major news stories entirely fabricated by cop unions since we last recorded about officers getting like some kind of shit done to them by employees at a fast food place, as if like anyone at a fast food place has any time to do any tampering that isn't spitting in your food. That's why it's always spitting. That's the easy one. You don't have to go get anything.
I always remember this story that maybe this was passed around your school too, but there was one that I remember hearing where like someone was eating a salad at Olive Garden and it tasted funny, and it turned out there were like 10 different employees had ejaculated into it. Like, Olive Garden ain't got time to wait for 10 whole men to nut.
Yeah, like unless they have a guy in the back that they are just milking nut from the whole time, and that's how they flavor all their salads.
It was 10 different people.
10 different people? That's just unrealistic.
Just get like 10 guys standing in a line, like, and just have them start jerking slightly off sync from each other.
Well, see, they have one person who is trained to crank the guys, but also to crank the Parmesan onto your food. It's a reusable skill set.
God, just twisting the head of the penis like the knob of a pepper grinder.
Yeah, exactly. No difference whatsoever.
And that's what makes the cum come out.
Anyway, the wildest thing about it is that one of them involved like a Frappuccino at Starbucks, which, like, first of all, if you've ever been into a Starbucks in your entire life, you can see every single person who works at that Starbucks at once.
Yeah. Even
in the largest Starbucks, your field of vision encompasses the entire staff. Yeah. Second of all, that is not what a tampon looks like.
Yeah, no, the image looks like a piece of insulation someone, like, jammed into a
Frappuccino.
Yeah.
And, well, it's like, third of all, even if it was, it's not going to absorb that much in a Frappuccino, which is cold.
Yeah.
Like it's just, like, it just doesn't work like that. And then the other one is, like, guys that said they were poisoned at Shake Shack, and none of them had even gotten symptoms, is how it turned out later. And it's like, oh, golly, who would have thunk they were lying about it the entire time?
Yeah, cops are just, like... I don't know. I may have said this exact thing before, but like, I have known and believed for a good while that the cops fucking suck. But like, I can't lie. There was still a small part of me that was like, I mean, they can't all be bad, but like this. Or like
maybe the institution itself is in some way redeemable.
But like this past like month and a half, 2 months has just like shown me that like beyond the shadow of a doubt. Like, and I'm frankly a little bit ashamed that it took me this long to get to this point. Like I should have been. I should have had my eyes open sooner on this.
With everyone's fucking eyes on them, they decide to act as badly as possible. Like they're a bunch of petulant fucking children. It is ridiculous.
I truly feel like every fucking day I'm hearing about a different cop who did to someone what that cop did to George Floyd that killed him. Like, I am hearing about the cops kneeling on someone or another's neck every fucking day. Like, they are just...
Well, and some of them are old stories that never really got circulation. Like,
The live PD one you talking about?
God, not even that one. Elijah McClain.
God, the Elijah McClain one is so fucking sad.
Oh my God, like there's a whole, like, his whole statement about what happened, like his last words and stuff, and like he was just like jamming out to music.
Yeah,
like could not have been doing anything less incriminating than like fucking dancing around to music. And it's like every single fucking day there's more and there's more and there's more and there's more, and every day city councils aren't, like, other than Minneapolis, like that's a step. They're putting a step towards like defunding their police department, but it's not done yet. It hasn't happened.
Yep.
Them saying they're gonna do it, like, you don't believe a politician when they say they're gonna do something until they fucking do it.
Yeah.
And then you won't even have, some organizations won't even fucking do that. Like Vancouver requested a 1% cut of the Vancouver Police Service's budget, and then the police just said no.
Did you have I ever talked about Rochester's Police Accountability Board on this podcast?
I don't think so, but I'd be glad to hear it.
So, last year last year there was like a special vote. No, it's not like a special vote. It was a vote done at the same time as our primary. You know, one of those flip the ballot over things.
Right.
our local election, and it was like overwhelmingly voted upon that Rochester's police needed a police accountability board that was like independently operated of the cops.
Right.
And it like overwhelming support. Like I don't remember the exact numbers, but like at least in excess of 60% of the people who, at least in excess of 60% voted yes.
Right.
The next day, the cop union sued that was like against that would like fuck up their job somehow, and they managed to get the thing completely just knocked on its ass.
Yeah.
Anyways, I only bring this up because the other day Rochester had its budget, had its city budget voted on, and we managed to, we took down those police, we took down those cops, we stripped away 4% of their funding.
Yeah, how much do they still get?
Let me just Google real quick. RPD annual budget. Rochester Police Department in 2018 to 2019 received $90.38 million US dollars.
Good fucking lord.
I'm just gonna Google real quick out of curiosity what our like transit system gets. Rochester.
I put out like a little call on Twitter that was basically just like, what percentage of, like, what ratio of the police budget to, like, transit funding would you need to have free transit? And, like, there were a number of major cities where it's less than 100%, in that, like, the amount of funding that goes to cops could easily pay for free transit and then some. And it's just fun to think about what's considered essential in a city.
Yeah.
Is terrorizing homeless people.
Yep. So our bus budget gets a cool $10 million less than our cops do every year.
You love it.
I do, in fact, love it. And like it's the Rochester busing, but like it only covers like a small like cutout of the. I'm getting too into the weeds on local politics here.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
The only bus experience I've had around Rochester is Greyhound's in and out of it, and Greyhound just threatened to fully pull out of Canada entirely.
I saw that and I got so fucking mad.
Yeah, they threatened to pull out of Canada entirely if drivers didn't take a severe pay cut and also a cut to their pensions. So, like, before even declaring bankruptcy, they're already trying to loot the pensions. And it's like, if the Canadian government doesn't fucking nationalize them, I'm going to fight Justin Trudeau myself.
I feel like you've promised to fight Justin Trudeau already, so he's already like on the
he's on notice
for like three rounds in the ring with you already.
Well, first of all, he actually literally did go into the ring with a Conservative MP who disagreed with him once, literal actual boxing match, and Justin Trudeau did very much kick that guy's ass.
The Uwe Boll of politicians, they're calling him.
Yeah.
I bet he makes worse movies though.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like I've threatened to fight him specifically on the issue of needing to nationalize inner-city transit. Yeah.
Did you do that thing? Sorry, go on.
Well, it's just because, like, Greyhound services being discontinued in, like, the west and northwest of Canada was directly linked to the increase in number of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Like, direct correlation between those two things. Because it made it less safe to travel along those corridors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rural bus services. There was a rural bus service operated by the government of Saskatchewan that was privatized and then shut down by the Saskatchewan government, and they just haven't replaced it with anything. Like this is like people in like look at a fucking map and look how big Canada is, and just consider that there are people who don't live like 2 seconds from the border that need ways to get in and out of their cities. And they're largely people who don't have the kind of funds that would be required to move elsewhere, and also shouldn't have to because they're there. They should be able to live where they live if Canada wants to claim sovereignty over them as a country. Which Canada is fake. It's 3 mining companies in a trench coat. Yada yada yada. We've been over it.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that countries might be bad.
Countries are bad.
One last thing, I guess, before we go. Well, if you have other stuff, please. But I
have like 3 other things, like all like minute internet related. Well, not minute, just like all distinct internet related stories. But I almost feel like just kind of rattling them off closer to the end, because most of them don't really require a huge deep dive from us.
All I have is all I was going to say before I go into my secret sauce that I've been saving.
Right.
is the thing that, did you see that thing about the LAPD threatening to saying that there cannot be an Olympics in Los Angeles in 2028 unless we increase the police budget by 30%.
Yeah, you just get rid of the Olympics and the cops. It seems like a real easy play to me.
Like, a vote for Bart is a vote for anarchy ass slogan.
Yeah, versus a vote for Bart is a vote for anarchy, but in a cool font.
So what are your internet stories? I think I know what 2 of them are, but I think I'm in the dark on the 3rd.
The first one is related to something awful.
Okay, what is it? What's the awful thing?
The website.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Rich Low-Tax Kianka is a fucking piece of shit asshole human. Like, we already kind of knew that he was a piece of shit, but like, this is.
I don't think I had the idea that he was a 3 times multiple domestic abuser. Like,
yeah,
it is not, and like, thankfully the mods are being real good about it. Like, not to say like something awful is the best place on the internet, but they have a pretty strong community, and the mods and admins, or the modmins as they call themselves most of the time, have united pretty uniformly on this. And like, this is a mod group that has historically not had a very great relationship, not had a really great track record on abusers in the community. There have been multiple abusers that have run through the mod teams. That's where fucking Schmorky existed for like a bajillion years.
Yeah, that's a name I don't want to hear.
Yeah, don't want to hear that name. Don't look it up. And the fact that they are completely united on this and say, get the fuck out or we'll just leave. We'll do something else. Like, we don't want to lose the forums over this, but we're willing to see them go. If it means cutting off your source of income, because like, this is I don't think he makes much off of like forum accounts anymore, but like, people are also dipping off his Patreon because he has a Patreon for some fucking reason.
Fucking
fuck Rich Kianka. Find other places to do. There's like a bajillion Discord servers and whatnot. They're trying to find a new place.
One of the fucking nightmare things about this was a couple of days ago, in one of the servers that I'm in, which has a high current and former goon population.
Right.
One of them posted a thing on Facebook from Logan, which is Rich's like current wife or most recent wife, depending on where the paperwork is. I don't really know, but it was just her like standing in front of a mirror, holding up her phone and going to the camera, just being like, I lied about everything. Rich Low-Tax is innocent. I'm sorry for ruining his life. And then today Logan put up a Facebook post that was like, okay, so I'm on my way to an airport now. Rich forced me to say all those things because he thought that he said that I was quote unquote ruining his life. I'm safe, and just like a picture of an airport of an airplane ticket, and
he had like stalked a previous wife to a domestic abuse shelter using her phone information. And, like, checking cell phone pings. Like, oh, just a horrible, horrid, absolute garbage can of a person.
Like, Moot is a motherfucker, but at least I haven't heard from him. At least I haven't heard anything about him in 10 years.
Right. Well, and Moot's problem was primarily the age at which he started the site kind of poisoning his brain long term.
Yeah. What's your second story from online?
The second one is related to Cards Against Humanity. This one's pretty quick. I think we can get through it pretty quickly. There was an article put out on Polygon about the office culture of Cards Against Humanity. Sorry, I just had a lot of burps at once.
Oh, it happens. That's what you get for drink. What are you sipping on?
It was a Mill Street Organic. It's already gone.
Gotcha.
But basically, Cards Against Humanity's office culture has been like a completely horrible and toxic place for any women or people of color consistently over the course of years, which like is one of those things that like doesn't really feel like a surprise, but still really sucks to hear. If like as much as Cards Against Humanity has always been like a real kind of shitty game with a lot of really needlessly edgy stuff in it. They've spent a lot of time over the years trying to do things for progressive causes, and it really does just seem like all of that is a smokescreen for how shitty Max Temkin is specifically as a person.
Yeah, and it's been like equal parts. Like, I've been very relieved to see a lot of people who I respect like publicly cutting ties with Max Temkin over this, because
no one did that in 2014.
Like, he has been known to be a fucking sex pest /creep/rapist
since 2014.
2014, and they're like, you know, people like fucking Giant Bomb were still like in deals with him as recently as I believe 2016, and it's just the fact that they like. You know, Hey Riddle Riddle, which is a podcast that I otherwise love, there was a pre-roll ad where they shouted out Max Temkin like a year or two ago. It's just, I am equal parts relieved that they are finally cutting ties with him and extremely frustrated that it took them this fucking long.
I feel like the only person whose statement really, like, conveyed the level to which, like, people failed the communities around them was Anita Sarkeesian's.
Yeah.
Because hers is like, I was complicit in this. I was, like, actively helping him shield himself by being friends with him. I was, like, actively committing to a culture where people are going to be afraid to speak up. And, like, I thought that was a really good statement for that reason, in that, you know, it's like a mea culpa actually acknowledging the direct harm, not only in not directly helping the victims or speaking to the victims really in any way, but also just, like, further shielding from future issues. Like, this is something that, like, I've had to deal with a lot of fucking bad creeps coming up in circles of people that I have worked with. Yeah. And that's really all you have to do. That's what you have to do. And I've done the same shit. I've definitely covered for people longer than I should have. And it really comes down to, you need to do right by your community and just cut them the fuck off.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, Christ, how do I still have another story?
What is your other story, Fuck Wendig?
It is Fuck Wendig.
Yeah.
So, there's a lawsuit against the Internet Archive, based on their lending library. Their lending library was a service where they would cheaply digitize books by scanning them, and then would use like a traditional library DRM structure. So, like, you can loan the book for 2 weeks, and they only ever loaned out as many copies as they had physical copies of the books until they launched the Emergency Open Library, which removed those lending limits. And I just want to make
until the end of this month, right? Was it?
It was supposed to be till the end of June. They actually suspended it about a week and a half ago, on the basis of the lawsuit. And I want to make it very clear that these were not, like, loose PDFs of books, but they were specifically DRM structured files that would expire after 2 weeks, like any library would give out. And the only difference is that they were scans and not like a proper ebook.
Right, yeah.
And the main reason that they were doing this, well, first of all, this is a way that plenty of services archive their books. Like, Google Books' primary basis is on scanned books. Like, a lot of older archives are just scanned books, because no one wants to fucking type out an old-ass book again. Like, most of the manuscripts for these kind of books only exist in, like, a typeset format. Like, literal typing bricks.
Right, yeah.
Because, like, they're all, like, most literature is pre-computer. Except, like, that one Smash Bros. Fanfic that's longer than the Iliad.
That one Smash Bros. Fic is extremely powerful. I think about it pretty frequently.
It is one of the most powerful things that's ever existed.
Yeah.
And essentially, Fuck Wendig brought this up because, like, 3 of his books were on the site, and in the entire existence of the library, not even just, like, the emergency library, but in the entire existence of the library, there had been 3 total lends of one of his books.
Yeah.
And all of them were taken off immediately once a specific complaint was put in by him. Yeah. And Jason Scott, who's one of the guys who runs the archive, was responding to, like, personal Twitter requests from people just adding the archive, being like, take my fucking books off here. And he's like, okay. And he's being, like, real cordial and polite with them, despite the fact that they're being completely unreasonable and not just, like, you know, filing the request through, like, the actual service provided on the site to do so. And I think the overall damage that this lawsuit can pose are a bit overblown. Like, people were suggesting that they would be charged the full roughly $150,000 per book on the site in total. When the actual case seems to be that there was roughly 50 or 60 specific books that are named in the claim, which is by a couple of imprints, including HarperCollins, Hachette, Wiley, and Penguin Random House. And like those books would each have like the full price of the so it would come up to about $80 million, which, while a lot of money, is somewhat close to what their normal operating budget is for the year. So it's something that they could scrounge up, possibly, if they needed to.
Yeah.
But it's nonetheless, like, this is where, like, the most important archive we have. This is basically the Library of fucking Alexandria. The number of books that they have that are completely out of print elsewhere, just considering the books, just considering this market, is already incalculable. But then you consider, like, the number of old video games that they have that aren't available anywhere, and video games preservation is something I've gotten into on this fucking podcast before.
Yep, me as well.
It's really got into that one. The like old Flash websites, old websites in general, their tweet archives, their Vine archives. They have like old archives of Newgrounds. Like they have preserved culture better than anyone.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And authors that are mad.
Any single person who has contributed a single thing to the ongoing project to archive all the Flash shit that's going to go away at the end of this year has contributed immensely more to society than Chuck Wendig ever has or will.
Yeah, like now I'm just thinking of Chuck Wendig's fucking his porn essay.
Oh, that one. Anyways, just to cap that off, just to quote ZC Shrieking Shack, the Internet Archive stuff is a perfect encapsulation of the way we're trained to hate poor people. Multi-billion-dollar pubs pay their authors scraps and then convince them that the people are reading for free are the reason why they're paid scraps.
Right. Like, the whole thing about publishing is that publishing as an industry is based entirely on the concept of whales, and that being that maybe 2 books will make up 90% of their revenues for the entire year. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they aren't able to make more off of that, working in publishing or even just being authors in a publishing house, is based entirely on the structure of that org and not on people stealing the books.
Yeah.
That said, like, I do have friends that work in publishing. If you can afford books, please buy books. If you get books from a library that will count your stats towards that author and help get them paid better, get it from a library if it is available to you. Yeah. But I think that largely preservation is an incredibly important thing to be able to maintain. And I think that while definitely turning out to be a bad PR move in the long run, the open library was a very good idea.
Yeah.
That definitely should have gotten as much positive press as it got negative press.
Yeah.
For just being something that allows huge access for people to read.
Yeah. So I've been sitting on this story for a good little while. Matt, have you heard anything about this Twitch lawsuit?
I have.
Damn it. I was really hoping I'd be able to catch you off guard on
but
this
still,
one.
I read it very lightly. And I would very much like you to read some of it at me anyway.
How would you like to sue someone for... How would you like to sue Twitch.tv because they made you horny?
Didn't they ban all the horny streamers? I feel like they banned all the horny streamers.
So the thing is that there is a constant rallying cry against girl streamers ever showing any bit of their body and whatsoever.
Right.
Quote unquote titty streamers have been the quote unquote bane of gamers' existence since Twitch has existed.
And all these fucking losers are always in those streams anyway. Just like hurling
absolutely.
abuse at them from the chat.
So, Eric Estavillo Twitch.tv was served an official summons on June 19th from Mr. Estavillo. His claim says that he suffers from several medical issues that require him to rely only online for his entertainment, such as including OCD and sex addiction, and he claims that Twitch makes it worse. Here's some choice quotes from the lawsuit. Twitch has extremely exacerbated his condition by displaying many sexually suggestive women streamers through Twitch's twisted programming netcode, making it nearly impossible for the plaintiff to use Twitch without being exposed to such sexual content.
I mean, literally just don't look at the front page. It's not hard.
According to the complaint, this guy is following 786 female streamers and 0 men.
Good lord. This reminds me of that one fucking that one Twitter user who's like, he made like an e-girl tier list, and it was like the image was so large that each like picture was scaled down to be like 1 pixel tall. And it's like, good lord, man.
Quote, in addition, Twitch also takes advantage of the plaintiff and many other sexually addicted viewers by allowing them to, quote, subscribe, donate, or pay bits, end quote, to these women streamers. Twitch uses this immediate gratification reward system against their sexually addicted viewers, no different than how a casino would.
Jesus Christ.
The thing is, I have not in this way, but I have fallen victim to the, I want to hear a streamer say my name, so I will give them $5 thing, like just the instant gratification. Not for a sexual thing, just because it's fun to hear someone try and pronounce Sonhat Zhenya.
Yeah, of course.
But it's very, it's just been this lawsuit is just. It's just the absolute absurdity that I really need today.
Yeah, if you guys want to be really grossed out, just seek out the lawsuit for the things that Sara will not be reading on air. Because he gets into really graphic detail about how much his ding-dong has suffered because of these Vixen Twitch streamers.
He's got the ketchup skin bottle going on.
I hate that. I hate that you've said it. I hate that I've had to see that phrase more than once this week.
Listen to City Girls Make Do.
But yeah, it's so... I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, it basically gets to even the point, like, if a girl is on Twitch to be sexually suggestive towards an audience, to gain an audience, and to gain money off an audience, who gives a fuck? Like, get it how you gotta get it. It's like it's basically, it's a chilling effect of, like, targeting sex workers on these platforms will cause the targeting of people who are not sex workers, who are deemed to be anything like a sex worker.
Yep.
And that's basically what it comes down to. They wanted to ban people who were explicitly doing sexy stuff on the platform, like the one streamer who kept like streaming her workouts, like aiming down her shirt. And it's like, you do you, but like the chilling effect from this is that anyone doing anything even perceived remotely sexy has been getting flagged by the algorithms and often kicked off the site and losing their income.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And that is why
it really does.
Top down, you just need to support sex workers on every platform and allow them to have stability and safety, and it will encourage the safety of everyone else as well.
100%. So, do you want to get into Lightbringers?
Sure. What do you got?
My Lightbringer this week is going to be I'm doing a two for this week. Two almost 20-year-old video games.
Oh, good. I was hoping one of them would be that.
Yeah, one of them is going to be I finished replaying Resident Evil 4 the other day, today actually.
What are you buying?
That game still remains extremely slapping. The Switch port has, I can't believe there are fucking frame rate issues. Like, I'm not really one to complain about frame rate, but like,
it's a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, specifically only when you reload the rifles, it drops like 10 frames per second for some fucking reason.
Oh, God.
But it still slaps extremely well, except for the last hour of that game, which is just like, it might have one of the most severe gaps in quality in video games.
That, the ending of that game is a fucking like jet ski race through a tunnel for some reason, isn't it?
I truly think that like past the part where the guy in the helicopter, Mike, comes and helps you out, I think from there to the end of the game, it's bad. Like, I don't like the helicopter scene very much. The first time through, it actually has some good spectacle, but I don't like it otherwise. The final boss fight fucking sucks, and the jet ski sequence is also garbage. I don't think I've finished that game maybe like 5 or 6 times, and I don't think I've ever gotten a run of it where I don't like beef it at least once to that jet ski sequence.
Well, yeah, because stuff like drops out of the sequence and it's out of the ceiling, and it's like random.
Yep,
sucks.
The other 20-year-old video game I've been playing is I finally decided to get into Melee.
Hell yes!
Because they got rollback in this shit now.
Yeah, so Melee is a game that has always run very well.
Super Smash Brothers Melee, to be clear.
Yeah, Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Melee has always had a robust net play scene, which has definitely bloomed in the recent couple of months. What with all in-person tournaments being canceled for some reason or other.
Mm-hmm. And one thing, other thing is that it has always been a very well performing game on Dolphin. Like you are getting like pretty much console speed. The only difference being that like most people's monitors aren't CRTs, and so like you have to have very specific refresh rate settings to match like what the gameplay is going to be like. But like the newest build that they've released for Dolphin is like a specific pack-in build, has matchmaking.
It has matchmaking built in. You don't have to go to Smashboards or Smash.gg. I can't remember which. I can't remember what the fuck it is that you normally would go to.
Netplay was using Smash.gg most recently.
Yeah. You can still do that because there is no like ranked thing or like any like MMR of any variety. So you're just like, if you queue up, you might get matched up against me, who is basically someone who has not touched Melee since Super Smash Bros. Brawl came out. Or you could get matched up against someone who like can like
literally Leffen. You get matched up against literally Leffen.
Yeah, you could get matched up against literally Leffen.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's I have not touched even the unranked matchmaking. I'm just playing with people I know, and it is just butter smooth.
It is,
and it's especially funny because they just had like a big tournament on Smash Ultimate.
Yeah,
and it ran like fucking garbage. Like, the matches just, like, so many disconnects, so many matches that just couldn't even be completed. And it's good that there is something that people can actually play. I don't know if Nintendo's going to come down on this. Like, they've historically not come down on net play, likely for the same reason they haven't come down on Pokemon Showdown, in that it's how their entire competitive community, like, functions at all.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be shooting themselves in the foot.
It's just absolutely it's truly staggering. It's just I get what, like, the bigger a fighting game roster is, the harder it is to implement rollback netcode. Like,
right.
Just basically the more variables that you have, the harder it is to implement. It's why you'll always see, like, well, not always, but you will more often see independent or smaller roster fighting games with it, like Skullgirls, for example, or
whereas like Smash Herds. Ultimate, for example, is going to be passing 80 characters very soon.
Yep. Shoutouts to Min Min.
So I can see why they haven't implemented it there, but it's like,
but at the same time, also it's like you're kind of Nintendo. You could try to make your netcode like good.
Well, yeah, hire a lot of people because you can afford it. Nintendo's historically just bad about the concept of online in general. I mean, like, Game Freak's even worse than beta, like regular Nintendo is.
Yeah. Speaking of Melee, Matt, do you want to jam a game or two after we're done with this podcast?
I might want to jam a couple of games of Melee after this. Might have to do that.
Hell yeah.
Maybe when Steph's done watching Johnny Mnemonic over there.
Nice.
Listen to City Girls Make Do. Subscribe on the Patreon for the Keanu bonus episode on Johnny Mnemonic recording this weekend.
Johnny Mnemonic.
I just can't say that word on first
try. It is a hard word to say.
It starts with an M, but it doesn't sound like it. What's your Lightbringer? I wanted to just recommend a couple of podcast episodes, as I am wont to do every once in a while. One, I'm actually just gonna have to look it up just to see what the actual title of the episode is. But it's the New Day podcast. The New Day being the wrestling group, and they had an episode about police violence. There's just really, really good. Just like how they feel about everything, and like talking about someone who has worked in racial justice about the protests and about how they feel about the police in general. And it is just like a really moving episode, and I feel like it's the deepest and hardest that like any celebrities have been going on this, and I've really, really appreciated listening to it. I'm just trying to find like the title of the episode, but their website isn't very good, so I'm gonna have to try to find somewhere else to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There's a conversation about racial injustice, the New Day, Feel the Power. It's their June 8th episode, and you can actually find it right on YouTube. So they have cross-posted the episode in full on YouTube, whereas they normally just do previews. So definitely check that out. And then the other one is the newest episode of Citations Needed, episode 112, How Polarization Discourse Flattens Power Dynamics and Says Nothing. It's just a really good dive into why the concept of polarization is bullshit. Things that are seen as being polarizing are often things that have broad-based support among, like, the American in this example, but also in general, like, the things that have broad-based support among a population will be seen as divisive because, like, the talking heads in politics land disagree about it. And it's also just about how generally media has resorted to primarily just meta-narratives about politics. It's like people are talking about politics wrong, and we're going to talk about how they're talking about politics wrong, instead of, any of these people in any way doing politics. It's a very good episode, and it was very illuminating. It's one of those things where it's like what you're hearing from them isn't necessarily new to you, right? But it's like it's being put in a way that's so clear you can't possibly miss it.
Yeah. Speaking of podcasts, just gonna give a quick shout out to one of the most shouted out podcasters on this podcast, Robert Evans. His miniseries Behind the Police is really good. I've listened to the first episode. It's him and rapper Propaganda talking about the history of the police.
Episode 1 was real good.
Really, really good shit. Yeah. Bobbert Evans, thank you very much for your content.
We do love Robert Evans. And also, on the note of podcasts,
God, I wish, huge tangent, but I kind of wish Bob Evans was still around. The restaurant.
It's a restaurant,
Bob Evans
right? Doesn't exist up here, so I've only heard about it tangentially. I was just going to say shout out to Val of the show for finally launching their own Noise Space podcast. Remember how Val has, as a Lightbringer, said to watch Elementary more than 3 times? Well, if you did finally do that, you can now listen to a podcast about it. It's called LMNOP. It's just such a good fucking title. And it is right here on the Noise Space Network. You want to bring this to the close?
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die, Not a Threat, Just a Fact. Thank you very much for bearing with us while we took that time off 2 weeks ago, and also apologies for the fact that this episode was supposed to happen last week, but then I got full transparency. It was supposed to happen last weekend. I got extremely waylaid on Friday. I got extremely waylaid on Saturday, and then on Sunday my brain just said no thoughts, depression only.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Yeah. So, but we managed to get this back together. So we are, podcasting in the free world, baby.
Whoop whoop.
I'm going to recommend that instead of donating to our Patreon, I'm going to instead recommend that you give to the causes surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement, give to bail funds and such. But I will still be shouting out the patrons that have donated to our Patreon. So I'm going to pull that list up real quick. Matt, while I am doing that, would you like to do your plugs real plug where we are and do the restaurant plugs?
We are HKIPGTD everywhere. That is Facebook, even though that is just a bot that posts there. We have a Twitter. We have a Tumblr, which we sometimes will use, but not very often. Mostly Twitter. Follow our Twitter, HKIPGTD. And we are also on Patreon. On Patreon, you can, if you are one of our subscribers, for $1 you get any and all bonus content delivered to you in a wonderful, convenient RSS feed. At $5, you get a special role in our Discord of Comrade. And, God, what else do you get for $5? I'm actually...
I think that's it for $5.
Yeah, all right. You also get access to the nicknames channel, which is occasionally used.
Did they change Patreon fucking again? Jesus Christ!
They changed the layout again. It's a real pain in the ass.
I can't even find the old list where I would read off patron names. Jesus Christ! Okay.
The relationship manager has them pretty good. You just have to hover over the long ones.
Yeah.
But it's probably the best you're gonna get. At $10, you are a Conrad. You can listen as we record the podcast. Which is good because we edit the hell out of these things most of the time. So
yeah. So thank you very much to Cass, Claire Steer, Corleone Capone Cone Apologist, Tufster McGee, Indian Snuffkin, Rain Raven, Your Sapphic Minecraft ACAB wife, nice, Patrick Van Brunt, Alex H, Wynn, Jacob Sears, Bryce, Stefan Death and the Grips, Neve Noel Williams, Maximilian Rower, Burgermeister, Bryant, Nick Clarkson, Jane Wick, Destry Hawk, Pierre the Disaster, Alex Hoot, Non-Binary with Left Beef, Ashy News, Summer Guys, Dijonnaise, Chaz Goblin, Pregnant Seinfeld, David Besser, Paul Blart, Fleshcart, The Tallest Jew, Stephanie Ruff, and Alex Shout. We love you all very much.
We love you all very much.
I wanted to thank Reddit user Bisexual Punch Party for running reddit.com/r/HKIPGTV. You are a true champion. Thank you very much to the Taxpayers for the use of our intro music. Oh my god.
Evil Men off the album Cold Hearted Town.
God, it's been over a month since I did this
It's
podcast.
Fine. It's fine.
It's
fine. You got
rusted over. If you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at Sunhatzhenya, SUNHATZHENYA. You can also listen to me on Fear Baiting, which is the horror movie podcast that I do, and The Wonder Years, which is the Animorphs podcast that I do. I heard there's some news about an Animorphs movie, and I'm fucking terrified because I cannot think of a good way that they will adapt that. And
if it's bad, it needs to at least be fun bad.
I really want it to be like Artemis Fowl's levels of bad.
Oh, hell yes.
I'd like it to be good, but if it's got to be bad, I want it to be Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, and it's just like a complete and utter artistic failure.
Yeah, and I do that one with my friends Blair and Seda, and then I believe that... Oh yeah, those are all under noisepace.xyz. Thank you, Matt, Overlord of the Noise Space, for everything.
Look at our new website!
Yeah,
I don't think that had launched the last time we did an episode.
Yeah. And I think that's everything. So until next time...
Well, I'm Matt. You can find me at MattGCN.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought you did your plugs already, but I was looking for Patreon shit.
I have a million podcasts. Out of the active ones, there is Tuning Fork. We just recorded an episode on the 0.0 Pitchfork reviewed Travistan by Travis Morrison. And it's a weird-ass album. I really would like you to check that episode out.
Nice. Oh, happy Out of Touch Thursday.
Oh, happy Out of Touch Thursday. Well, it's Thursday. That's all I really feel like plugging right now. Let's close it out.
All right. So until... wait, no. This has been Henry Kinser's Pokemon Going to Die. Not a threat.
Just a fact.
Memento Pokemori.
Memento Pokemori and also Semper Funny.
And also, fuck all cops.
And fuck all cops.
Fuck all cops. Okay, bye.